Let's collect some more things from the garden. It's just crazy how you're waiting and waiting for produce, and then boom, all of a sudden, you have a lot. These guys are waiting for me to throw something to them. I have a whole bunch of bell peppers laying on my counter, so I'm gonna leave these be on the plant until I figure out what I want to do with them. So it looks like most of the corn is almost ready to harvest. I've harvested a couple of squash. It was only 2, so literally a couple. It's taken up a lot of space, not delivering much, so I don't know if I'll grow it again. Corn tastes really good when if it's fresh. If you let it sit for a little bit on the counter, it's starting to taste not so great, so I'll try to eat it more often. So when harvesting corn, you're looking for brown hairs like this. This one is not ready yet because it has a little bit of green going on. So as all of this turns brown, you can snap it off and enjoy. A couple of these stalks I've already harvested the corn off of them. So you can either wait for them to dry out and use them as decoration, or steaks because they're very sturdy, or you can just toss them to your chickens, which I'm gonna be doing. So I'm trying not to disturb the soil too much, and it's quite easy with corn. What you do is literally just twist it off at the bottom. This will stay in here and eventually rot and give back to the soil, and I'm not disturbing it, so that's great. So basically twist and pull. You don't have dirty roots to deal with, or soil coming out of your beds. And to finish cleaning this bed up, I'm actually gonna put the rest of these vines of the squash back onto the bed, just so it's not getting chopped up by lawnmower. So it might look a little rough right now, but in the morning the leaves will point upwards towards the sun and will look a lot neater. Here in this bed, my corn is doing fine, except I don't think I'll have enough time to harvest anything off of it. So this was just an experiment, and I think it is just showing me that let's not do that again. As far as fall plants, I have some spinach and lettuce that are coming up, which is exciting, and some kale over here. So we'll see how this does. Here in this quarter, my lettuce has bolted, and I've been actually harvesting these seeds, which you can see right over here, and planting them around. So I think the rest of this is not needed, so I'm gonna cut this down and give this to my chickens. My zucchinis are doing good in this bed, coming up nicely, so we'll see how they do here. I've cut down this Brussels sprout, but look, it's actually forming little Brussels sprouts, which is kind of insane. Otherwise, my garden's just doing great. I've trimmed my strawberries a whole bunch. So if you want your strawberries to keep going and produce new growth, you kind of have to cut them down. So I cut everything down about 2/3 of the way down. And as you can see, the newer green leaves are the new growth, and that's what you want to see. Also, fertilize to get some good fruit next year. Next thing to go out of this garden would be these sunflowers. They are starting to die back and dry out, which is about time, honestly. These are probably 20 feet tall sunflowers, maybe higher, kind of shading out everything. So although they're beautiful, They're not very practical for a garden. Let's get some more peppers here. Oh, I see more tomatoes. My basil is starting to finally flower, which is exactly what I want because I want this to reseed. So I will not bother these guys. I will let them flower and hopefully they'll have enough time to form seed and grow next year. I think I'm gonna let the beans dry out on the trellis and then collect them and then use them as actual beans. So they are ready, they just need to dry out. And then I'll shell them and put them in a glass mason jar and use them later. But it's filling out nicely. I just have 2 eggplants that are growing actually. I think I'm gonna give up on this variety and try one more, like the Japanese eggplants next year. And if they don't do well, I think I'll just give up on eggplants altogether. The only reason I grew eggplants was to try out different recipes, just try out different things in my diet, and it's just taking up space and not really delivering. So I think one more year, and if that doesn't cut it, then I'll just call it quits. Thanks a bunch for coming along on this little harvest journey. I hope you have a good one and go garden a little. See you next time.